Hello and welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries. Today I wanted to do a real-time weekly plan with me. So we are going to be setting up my week in all three of the books that I pretty much use on a daily, if not weekly basis. And I'm going to take you along for that journey. This is likely going to be a very long video, so grab yourself something to drink or a snack or something, or watch it in segments, whatever. I'm having a 𝗦𝘂𝗽 ginger ale, which will hopefully help with my voice going through this, as I'm still kind of recovering from my April allergies. Goodness. Anyways, let's just get started. I'm going to start with my health planner because this is probably one of the faster ones that I set up. I'm also going to be talking through a lot of this, so it is likely going to be taking longer than it normally would take me. So just keep that in mind, however long this video ends up being. Yeah. Anyways, for the weekly section, I am just going to flip through to the new week. This week that I am going to be setting up is actually my birthday week, and also the week that I'm having a sale on my website. And I'll have all of that information. Actually, I'm going to put this down here. All the information, probably cut in a separate video. Anyways, how I like to set up my weeklies is I usually use a ruler and then a fountain pen of choice. Don't really know what color I want to do for this week, so I'm just going to pick a yellow. This is an Analog Notes Pens Ohm model in the Saturn Storm by Poorly Controlled. I am in love with this pen and this blank, and just, I don't know, there's just something about it that's really fun to look at for me, and I really enjoy that. Anyways, it's inked up with this kind of golden color, which is by Van Diemen's. It's the April 2024 ink. That's the name it has. I don't have another name for it, sorry, but it's like a gold ink with some red shimmer in it. I don't know, it's really interesting. And the more I've used it, it's grown on me. Originally when I inked it up, I was not in love with the pairing, but now that I've used it for a little while, it's been really nice. But what I'm doing here is I'm just outlining the different sections that I use for this planner. So I usually delineate all of the weekly over here, and then I split the blank page into 3 sections, and then that top section again in half, and that just helps keep me organized with the different sections I like to keep track of in this little book. And then for the other page over here that I'm about to do, I also like to separate my weekly with 3 columns. So I have a column for my workouts, a column for my meditation time, and then also a column for any running I've been doing. I have not done any running at all, actually, just because of the state of my lungs right now. I don't feel like that is a very wise choice, and I'm just listening to my body. I'm also going to color in these dates over here. I'm just going to rest my hand on some blotting paper because I do have lotion on my hands and I don't want to get it all over the page. This is just a fun way to use my fountain pen inks in the pens, is just coloring this in. It's totally not necessary. It's just something that I guess enjoy, which is perfect because this is for me, not for anybody else. Okay, and that's pretty much it for the beginnings of this. I also like to take another color, usually one that's a bit more broad nibbed, or another pen that has a bit more of a broad nib. This is a Bennu Earl Grey with a medium nib and has Ancient Copper inked up into it, and I'm just going to title out my sections. So on the left page, I just pretty much track meals and nothing else. And then on the other page, I track my fasting time and meal ideas on the top. I track my feelings or like mental health check-ins in the middle section. So I usually title it like, how am I feeling? And then I also like to ask 3 more questions, but I'll do that in another color. And then the bottom section, I like to title as weekly routine, because this is just like a little space that I check off what I'm getting done. Okay, after that, I'm going to take another color. I'm just going to do a blue. I really have no kind of I guess, rhyme or reason to the colors I choose. I just choose them how I feel. But I'm just going to write out my fasting timeline. So I start at 2 a.m. and go all the way till midnight and just go by twos, so like 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. And then I also write out the weekly, kind of tracking at the bottom, so Monday through Sunday, sorry. And this basically just leaves a little grid space for me to come back in later and dot where I start and where I stop in terms of when I break my fast and when I stop eating for the day. It's just information I really like to keep track of. I don't know why, it's just something I find really interesting about myself. And then on this other side, I'm just going to title out the weekdays. And this is a good space for me to write out my meal ideas, like I mentioned. And I will just leave it like that. And then at the end of this, like weekly spread, I'll go back and I'll write out what I'm planning on making for the week. Then for my mental health section, the first question I like to ask is, what did I do for me? And then I also like to kind of ask myself, what was the happy moment for this week? And also, what was the low moment? And that just helps me see kind of mentally where I was at this week. It's just like a little check-in. And then on this bottom section, I'm going to do, again, the kind of weekly tracking, so Monday through Sunday. And the things that I like to keep track of are if I did any reading, if I practiced my Spanish or Japanese language practice, if I did any meditations, if I used my moisturizer, which I'm trying to get much better at doing, and then any medication I'm taking, and then also any stretching I'm doing. And that's just the basic things that I keep track of. Ultimately, I would like to do these things every single day, but I give myself a lot of grace in if I don't complete them or not, which it's never a good idea, I guess, to kind of berate yourself over not achieving something. I like to treat myself more with kindness, I guess, with this kind of situation. Anyways, on this other side, I'm going to go ahead and write some big events, I guess. So things that would maybe impact my meal times. And starting off at the top here on Monday, I have my Dungeons and Dragons session, which I usually have always on Mondays at 6 p.m. So that usually impacts my dinner, whatever I'm having. And Wednesday is my birthday, so I'm going to go ahead and write down my birthday right here. And we will likely celebrate with some cake or like going out to dinner or something. And then on Saturday, I am going dress shopping again with my mom. So it's going to be lunch with my mom. So I'm just going to put that on here because that helps me see, okay, we'll probably go out to eat on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we are visiting one of my aunts for her birthday. So I'm going to just put that down here because it's also going to be a lunch type of thing. And I haven't seen her in several years, so I'm excited to visit with her. Okay, and that's pretty much it in terms of the planning of this little weekly here. The only other thing I like to do is just kind of decorate it a bit, and I always like to do that last because obviously what I'm writing down I feel is more important to me than the decorations. That's just a personal thing, but I'm going to use a sheet from Sticky Club. And I don't really know what sheet I want to use. This is one of these Sticky Club sticker sheet organizer things. And usually I just stick whatever sheets I have collected that are needing a home in this, and I will flip through it until I find a sticker sheet that I think matches my color scheme pretty well, with whatever colors I ended up picking. And it's not always like a food related sticker, but sometimes I aim to make it more of a food related sticker. And since this is also my birthday week, I'm kind of looking to see if I have anything that's more birthday themed that I might be able to use for this that would be a bit more appropriate, I'd say, to use in a time like this. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with this sheet here. It has like these little cupcakes and these little cat sea creature looking things, maybe otters, I'm not sure. The artist is 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗶𝗵. If you're interested in anything else I do, I know this sheet's probably really hard to see because it's very holographic, sparkly, glary, but I'm just going to pick off a few of these and stick them randomly on the page where I feel like they will complement the negative space. So basically space on the page that I know I'm probably not going to be writing in, so it's a good idea to put maybe a sticker there because it's going to help with the, I guess, balance of like writing to blank space to like sticker. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I feel pretty good about probably all of those. I don't really want to add too much because I feel like when there's too many stickers it looks kind of off. But I am going to go in with another fountain pen just to add a little bit more decoration, I think. Actually, no, I'm not. I think I'm just going to leave it like this for now. Last thing here I'm going to do is come up here to my meal idea section, and I'm going to write out the different meals that I think are going to be what I am going to have for the week. So I'm just going to take yet another color, and this will likely be the color I use for the whole week. This is going to be, I think, Cherry Red by Papery Plume is what this one is. But for Monday usually is when I like to have a bunch of leftovers, just because I'm usually really busy on Mondays and don't have a lot of time to cook. So I'm just going to write down leftovers. Tuesday, I'm hoping to make some kind of beans and rice dish. Probably going to have like beans, rice, and like a vegetable is my guess. And then on Wednesday is my birthday, so I'm just going to put my birthday again here, because there is no plans. I prefer not to cook my birthday meal, but if that happens, it'll happen. But it's fine. And then Thursday, we're likely going to have leftovers, is my guess, from either whatever we have on my birthday or from Tuesday. So leftovers yet again. Fridays are usually date nights. So like another time where we probably go out to eat. So I'm just going to put date night down. And if we don't go anywhere, we usually cook something together. We'll just decide on that day. Saturday, I have my lunch with my mom. And Sunday, I'm just going to put, again, lunch with my aunt. So that way, I'm not going to be probably cooking either of those days. It's likely going to be more leftovers and probably going to a restaurant or eating with those people and whatever they've cooked. So yeah, that is it for my health planner. So throughout the week, I will go back in here and just kind of update what I'm eating, tracking my fasting time, and then on Sunday, the 27th, I will come in here and answer all of my mental health questions and make sure everything else is up to date. But let's go ahead and put this one to the side and move on to the next planner, which is probably the fastest one to complete in terms of weekly setup, and that is going to be my Journal of Joy. And with my Journal of Joy, I don't really do a whole lot to set this up other than just decorating. So there's not really any planning that comes to be involved with this. This is more of like a journal where I update a very small entry every single day for whatever has brought me joy for that day. And the only things I really do on it are like title everything out. So I'm just going to grab, I'm going to do this brown. I love this pen. This nib has the Imperial nib on it by Kirkspear, and I'm obsessed. But I'm just going to title out this week here and say, this week and then on this other page is going to be what brought me joy. And I could just leave it at that, but of course I want to add some decorative elements. Usually I come back in throughout the week and just kind of update whatever I feel I was brought with joy. So this is mainly just, like I said, a journal. So I'm going to flip through my Sticky Club pages yet again and maybe find a good brown sticker sheet that, this one's perfect, that I feel would match something that would bring me joy. So like this one's very fantasy-like, so I'm probably going to be finishing the Bridge Kingdom series this week, and this is a really great representation of like a fantasy book. So I'm just going to kind of place these stickers just like the other Hobonichi Weeks I was doing. I'm just going to kind of place these randomly, and I will write around them as I enter in my things that are bringing me joy. But I always love a good greenery sheet, which is actually one of the sheets I'm going to be releasing for my birthday sale, because I feel like I always want to add greenery to everything. So that's, I don't know, this sheet's just reminding me that that's coming, and I'm really excited about releasing that. Okay, that's probably good enough. Like I said, this one doesn't really require a whole lot of setup and is pretty darn quick. It's mainly just decorating and getting ready to add journal entries whenever I am journaling at the end of my day. So I will come in at the end of the day like here and just write down a simple thing of what brought me joy, and then at the end of the week I come over here and fill out for like a weekly spread what brought me joy. But that's it for the Journal of Joy. Super fast, I know. But now let's get to the big girl over here, the planner that I have been loving so much, and that is my journal planner by Nisha Fernado Designs. And the primary reason I have been loving this planner so much is because it has everything in it. So I'm going to be updating not just the weekly section in here, but also the meal planning section. And I think this has been such a huge thing for me when it comes to having a one planner to rule them all. I've never had a planner that had a meal planning section in it before, and this has been game changer. I've been loving this so much. Yeah, I just really have been enjoying it. So for the meal planning section, similar to what we did with my meal planner just 10 minutes ago or whatever, I'm going to be doing a kind of basic outline down here of what I'm planning to eat. And then I'm also going to do some notes over here on the side of groceries I need to get this week or not get, or things that need to get done that are food related. And then I'm also going to add a little note here at the bottom of how many weeks I have until my wedding, just because that's something I'm keeping track of to keep me accountable of all of the things that I need to get done for that. All that rambling aside, I'm just going to pick a color to write with here. Let's go with this one. This is Spruce County Post by Ferrisville Press. And I'm going to zoom you guys in just a little bit for this, because we're only going to be dealing with the top half of this page up here. Okay, so for the beginning of the week, like I mentioned, I have D&D, or Dungeons and Dragons, on Mondays at 6. So I'm just going to write down here, Dungeons and Dragons, in the dinner slot. And hopefully that's going to be a good spot for me to remember, hey, I don't really have to plan anything here. That's going to take up that chunk of time. And then on Wednesday, it is my birthday, like I mentioned. So I'm just going to put it down here at the bottom. I don't really eat a lot of snacks, so it's a good spot for me to put that. And even though I am going to put, I'm going to leave this section blank where I would do like the meal prep or the meal plan. It's just, I feel like I like it better in this spot than putting it down here. But yes, this is going to be my birthday section. And like I mentioned, I'm also going to be doing stuff on the weekend with my family. So I'm going to go ahead and put lunch with my mom in the lunch section up here. And then also lunch with my aunt on Sunday, since that's when we're visiting with her. So that's pretty much just a little bit bolder way for me to look at the things that I have going on for meals. I realize this is probably pretty niche and people don't really plan their meals super extensively, but some people do, and I am kind of one of those people. Anyways, I'm going to pick another color here. I think I'm going to do this purple, another 𝗬𝗏. This is Kiwi, a Witch's Potion, and I'm going to actually write down what I'm planning to make in the meal prep section. So Monday, like I said, is going to be leftovers, so I'm just going to put down leftovers on here, or something simple, just because if it's something simple, then I don't have to worry about spending an hour cooking something. And then for snacks, I also need to do a reminder for myself to bring snacks to the session because it is my turn. So I'll probably stop at like a Tom Thumb or something, or a grocery store, and just pick something up right before to bring it. Tuesday, like I mentioned, I'm planning on making some kind of beans and rice. So I'm going to do beans, rice, and veg. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And then my birthday, I'm just going to leave this section blank, and I'm going to go back in and add a sticker here actually, just to make it a little bit more decorative. And then Thursday is going to be another day for leftovers. And I'm going to say leftovers from Tuesday / my birthday. And then on Friday, this is date night. So I'm just going to put down date night dinner. And that will either be something we make at home together that we decide to make the day of, or where we go out. Again, since we're going out so much this week, my guess is we're probably going to make something, but it's still something I just want to put down, date night dinner. And then for Saturday, lunch with mom, and Sunday, lunch with my Aunt Jay, I'm going to leave these two places blank and just put some washi here. I don't really like to meal plan on the weekends because, I don't know, it's just kind of a nice place for me to wait and see what happens during the week to determine what's going to be planned on the weekend. So I will wait to plan this a bit later in the week. I am filming this on this Sunday, so like the 20th. So I don't really have any idea what I want to do for the next weekend yet, but that's pretty much it for this side over here. I'm going to add some decorative elements, and I think I'm just going to do washi actually instead of a sticker. And because it is my birthday week, why not use my Coffee Monsters Co. birthday washi? Because this is just appropriate. So I'm just going to rip off a little chunk of this to put in this square. And then I'm also going to rip off another little chunk. Oh, come on. Another little chunk to put on this side for the weekend. That. And then I'm going to go over here to the groceries and notes and make my little notes here. And then the way I use this is as the week progresses, I come in and I write down what I eat. Pretty much duplicate information from that on the meal side of my meal planner, but it works better for me to have it in both places because I really am like testing this journal just planner out like to the max, and I really enjoyed seeing it here too. And on that note, the grocery run that I need to make is to, probably going to be Albertsons, I'm guessing. So I'm just going to put, I can't even spell Albertsons. Wow. Albertsons. Probably should just put a grocery, let's be honest. Anyways, but I need to get milk this week. I also need to get fruit. And I just do fruit loosely because I look to see what they have in season and what's on sale when I go to the store. I also need to get snacks for D&D, which will likely be on that Monday. It'll be a separate store. I also need to pick up my birthday cake. And I think that's it in terms of like what I need to get from the store. I need to double check some staple items. Oh, I need rice. I need to double check some other staple items that I keep in my pantry, but that's pretty much it for my grocery list. And then for my notes section, I have 27 weeks until my wedding. Which sounds like a lot of time, but it's really not. But that's just hopefully going to keep me accountable on all of the tasks that I need to get done for that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the meal section. Like I mentioned, I will go back in here as the week goes on and kind of enter in what I am eating, just to kind of keep track of it in here too, just to see if I even need to have a health planner next year. It's really just a good test of the space. But yeah, I think that's what I want to say with that. Whatever. Next thing I'm going to do in here is the actual weekly section of this planner. And this last week I went ahead and changed up my layout again. So I've been really loving the dashboard style, which is what I'm going to do for the week that I'm planning for right now. But this past week I was incredibly busy with a lot of different random things happening, and having it listed out in a timeline way was much more feasible to what I was doing. So I'm really happy that I can flip back and forth in a planner like this, that I can use the section for planning by time or planning in a more dashboard style. I'm so glad that it has multiple functions, because if I was stuck in one layout versus another, I think I would struggle a lot more. Anyways, let's go ahead and grid this out for my dashboard style weekly here. I'm just going to use the same colors I used in my health planner just to make it a bit easier, but I do need to bring this a bit closer to me because this planner is a bit bigger and harder for me to see. But I'm just going to draw some lines to kind of section out where I want things on the weekly. So I'm going to have a section for like my events, a section for some other things that I'm going to show you here. So like a section for events, a section for workouts, a section for cleaning, a section for joy, and then this bottom big section, which I'll break down here in a second. So with the sections on the bottom, I will do the left page into two sections, so 2 columns per section. First one being for my personal items and habits, second column being for my home and garden things. And then on the right page, I do, I guess, another 2 sections, but it's sectioned differently. So I will do 1 column for things that I am currently reading or watching, and then the other column for some other tasks, bigger task items that I need to get done for the week. So let's go ahead and title these out. I'm just going to again use the same colors that I used before. I'm going to put some bottle paper down for my hand. So up here we have events. This is going to be my workout section. And then I'm going to do my cleaning or chores. I'm just going to do chores. And then my section for joy, which I'll explain in a second. And down here, like I said, this is like personal and habits. This is home and garden. This is currently reading and watching. Ooh, I kind of smushed that. Oh well. And then this over here is other. Okay. Oops. I probably should do underlining for all of these, not just one thing. All right. So that's pretty much the basic groupings that I do. Now I'm going to I'm going to actually plan out what I have going on. And with that, I mean like the events up here, like I've been talking about D&D, my birthday, lunch over the weekend with some family. I'm also going to plan out my workouts for the week, write down all of the chores that I want to get done by day, which is more of like, I guess, a to-do list on a chore basis. The joy section I will be leaving blank because this is basically taking place of my journal of joy. So again, testing this planner out to the max. How much can I fit in it? So each day I'll write in like my little thing that I would write in here for joy. Even though I'm putting it in both places, it's just a nice way for me to test out this space. And then I'm also going to plan out my personal habits and to-dos that I need, my home and garden to-dos. I'll write out what I'm currently reading and watching just as a fun record, and then I'll also write down my other to-do list over here. I'm probably not going to talk too much through this because I do have to kind of concentrate on what I actually need to get done, but I will do my best to keep you guys on like in time with what I'm doing while I do this. Like I said, this is real time, so it's going to be a bit patchy in terms of sound, so just bear with me, and hopefully my breathing isn't too loud into this microphone. Okay, so I have my Dungeons and Dragons on Monday. On Tuesday, I have a meeting with the post office and UPS people for pickups. Wednesday is my birthday. Thursday is basically going to be a day solidified into making sure my birthday sale goes smoothly. And that's what I wrote on here. The birthday sale is going to start on Friday the 25th and go all the way through Sunday the 27th. And then on Saturday, I have, like I said, lunch with my mom, but we're also going dress shopping, so I put that on there. And then I have my visit with my aunt on Sunday at 2 p.m. So those are all of the big ticket event items that I currently know of. As the week progresses, if I have more things to add, I will add them into the events section. I primarily just put down big things that are happening, like meeting-wise, etc. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Now I'm going to move on into my workouts, just to kind of speed through this, I guess, before I start writing. Workouts I do in like a split, so I try to split my muscle groups throughout the week, so that way I'm evenly working on multiple groups of my muscles and not just overworking one muscle continuously. So I'll try to explain that after I've written out like what I'm doing, but I'm also working on doing more arm exercises for my wedding, and then also more walks. Even though lately I've been really struggling with walking again because of my allergy situation, my lungs are not in the best shape, so workouts are more of a goal to aspire to, but aren't necessarily happening every day. It's just kind of what I want to happen. Even though I'm getting more and more, like, I'm getting better daily with my allergies, so I'm able to do a bit more every single day. And I'm hoping this week will be like the week that finally I can push over this and continue into the journey that I'm trying to work on for this year. Enough rambling. Let me write out my workouts. Okay, so I have my workouts kind of listed out here. I have back days on Mondays and Thursdays, arm or chest days on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then legs on Wednesdays and Sundays. And I always try to do a bit of rest on Saturdays, even though usually it ends up being more of like a walk of some kind as my rest. I'm trying to break the habit of just like not doing any movement at all. So I'm going to leave that on there. And then for my chores, this is also kind of like a daily check-off thing. I'm going to break it up into sections of my house that I can do on a daily basis. That way I'm not trying to clean my whole house in one day, and I can break it up a bit easier based on my schedule and what I have time for usually. And so with that, I'm just going to kind of write these out really quick. Okay, now that I have all of my chores listed out, I'm going to go ahead and move down here to the personal section. And this is similar to kind of what I do in my meal planner again. I'm just going to write out a little section for habits. And I'm going to write out the different habits that I mentioned, the reading, Spanish, Japanese, moisturizer, all those kind of good things. And some personal task list items is something else I like to add in this section. So I need to do a box clean out. I have a bunch of boxes that I'm going through that I'm keeping in, like, I save certain size boxes for like pen pals and stuff. So I need to go through my boxes and clean out the ones that I'm not going to use. And then I also need to do a ink binder update with some of the new inks that I received. So I need to update that with those, and I think that's the two big things there. For my home and garden, since I am not doing a big garden this year because of my wedding, I don't really have a whole lot I need to add to this section, but spring is upon us, so we do need to mow the front and back lawns. I also need to clean out the chicken coop. Now that we are in warmer weather, I can take out a lot of the extra bedding so they're not getting like super hot in there. They're not overly insulated, I'll say. But I also need to do the chicken wormer, which is just something I add to their water, and once it's gone, they're good. And that's just to help with all of the stuff blooming and all of the critters and larvae that are popping up in the soil. It'll just help keep their systems a little bit more regulated. Yeah, and then we are also working on our dog claw management. Just as like good practice for my puppy, so she learns to let us touch her paws all the time. She's not really a puppy anymore. She's over 8 months now, but you know, learning process is still very much there. Okay, and then the other thing I want to add here is, like I said, the currently reading and watching. We are currently watching Breaking Bad. Please, no spoilers. I'm on the last season. I am so into the show. It is a problem. I want to do nothing but binge it, and while I was sick, it was a saving grace. So I'm kind of going through Breaking Bad withdrawals because I don't get to binge episodes a day. I get to like one a day, maybe. So that's what we're watching currently. And then I'm currently reading the Bridge Kingdom series by Danielle Jensen. And it is so good. I'm having the best time. I'm on book 3 right now. It's called The Inadequate Heir, and I have to say it's not the same as the first 2 books. The first 2 books I was so absorbed, and the third book changed the lead characters. Like they're still characters in the series, but like the focus is more on these newer characters versus the 2 that were in the original 2 books. And it's just not the same. It's good, it's just not the same. So I'm kind of struggling to push through this third book, but I do want to finish the series. There's 5 total in the series, but just this third book is and there's something about these characters that I'm not vibing with as well as the first 2. And then this other section, this is basically where I need to put down some other to-do things. So I'm just going to put birthday sale prep. I'll put all of my work-related tasks in my work planner. That I try to keep them separate from this, just because it's a good way for me to categorize my brain, and I feel like I can go as long-winded as I want in my work planner with all of the work tasks I have. So there's that. But more than that, I need to go, like I said, dress shopping with my mom. And that is for my wedding dress, so I'm going to leave that on here. We also have to do caterers / vendor interviews. And also finalize our save the dates and guests. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and finish this by just adding some decorations, like I said. Again, not necessarily, I could totally work with this with just plain Jane fountain pens, and I have done that before when I don't really have time. But I want to add a little bit of a decorative element to this just because it is my birthday week, and I don't know, I feel like I want to add some decoration to this. So I'm just going to flip through again some more stickers. I'm just gonna stick with Sticky Club because it's what I have handy. I also like to use my PET tape clippings from London Gifties, but since this is already out, I might as well just look through this and see if I can find something that matches the color scheme but also is kind of birthday-y and I will go from there. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with this. It's not super birthday, but it is dark blue, which matches that 𝗦𝘃𝗵 ink by Colorverse. And it's like fantasy, which is something I'm really enjoying right now in terms of my reading. So I think this will do. I am gonna add, I think, this larger sticker first down here. And then I'm gonna do this one overlaid. Yeah. One thing I do like about Sticky Club, which this is not sponsored by them at all, by the way, I just really enjoy their stuff, but all of their stickers are on different textured paper, so you can really find out what you enjoy with different textures. So some of their stickers are really shiny, some of them are very matte, some of them are clear, some of them are opaque. They have a lot of really great options for stickers. And their monthly subscription is really affordable. It's like $12, and yeah, I can't complain with that. So yeah, there's my 2 cents on Sticky Club. I'm a huge fan, and I love using their stuff. So I'm just gonna, again, what I'm doing with the stickers is just kind of playing out where I feel they would look best based on the negative space on the page. And again, by negative space, I mean blank space. So basically anywhere there is not text or writing, or where there is not planned to be text or writing, I feel like this helps where, yeah, it helps fill up that space a little bit so it's not as just blank. And I'm not going to do too much more. I don't want it to be overwhelmingly stickered. I'm not a huge fan of that look. But I do want to have a little bit of decoration here and there just to add to the, again, blank space. It's like is it a Taylor Swift song, Blank Space Babe? I think that's one of her songs. I'm not a huge Taylor Swift person, so I can't really name off her songs super well. But I think I am happy with that. And on that note, I'm pretty much done planning for this week. I finished setting up what I need to do in my journal of joy here, finished setting up my health planner situation, and now I am done with the meal tracking and weekly section of this journey planner. There is no other weekly section in this book that I update. Everything else is either monthly or daily, so that's pretty much it. And yeah, I'm done. I don't know how long that was. I think my camera says it's been about an hour. So realistically, probably without me talking, doing this not in front of a camera, it'd probably take me about 30 minutes to do all 3 of these, which sounds about right. Obviously on weeks that are a little bit busier or a little bit slower, it might be more or less time, but I'm pretty happy with all of this. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me while I planned in my planners. If you have any questions for me, just let me know down in the comments. If you body doubled with this, planned in your own planner, let me know. I'm always curious to see like what you guys feel about these kind of real-time plan with me's, because I don't do them as often anymore, and I feel like maybe I should. So I would love to hear your feedback. But yeah, I wish you the best, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.